Ladies and gentlemen, this is the link that I was looking for. This is the type of player that I am craving for in midfield. Smart purchase as well. And this, ladies and gentlemen, we have to take it quite seriously because it's coming from Nathan Gissing and Simon Phillips. And they've got quite a good internal know-how of our transfer business. So let's talk about this.
All right. Here we go, back again on the other side of the coin.
All right, welcome back to the other side of the coin, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of Chelsea Transfer Bonanza. We're going to go through a few transfer links over the last 12 hours and also give you an update of where things are at in terms of the Chelsea takeover, which is done. Some fans are a little bit worried still, but look, it is done. It's just we're waiting for that final sort of announcement, which I'll give you an update as to what's going on in regards to that. But first, we start this conversation in regards to Yves Bissouma. This is the caliber of midfielder, in my opinion, the deepest midfielder, whether you want to call it a register, whether you want to call it a CDM, whether you want to call it someone who breaks up the play from the back, like whatever you want to say. This is the particular type of midfielder that I want to be linked with. And finally, we have it right here. Look, I just want to say one thing before we get onto this particular news is that football is all about perception. There's no right or wrong. Now, I may like Yves Bissouma, or I may like Julian Weigl, or I may like, Ruben Neves and so on and so forth, right? Tchouaméni. Some may like Declan Rice. They like that type of a character for the deepest midfielder as the CDM, because they picture that, I'm not interested in controlling possession. I'm interested to be more direct. I want my midfielders to be far more attacking, and I need a defender that's capable of having the mobility and physicality to control situation in transition. Because the way I pictured Declan Rice is not someone that you want to hold possession with a lot. It's someone that you want to be more direct with, and then it's more like a basketball game. When the opposition comes at you, you have someone like Declan Rice to be able to mop things up. Whereas when I talk about players like Tchouaméni, look, it's done and dusted. Real Madrid's going to get Tchouaméni. I wish we were in the mix of it. We were in the mix of it last season, but we blew it. This season, there's no way Real Madrid's going to miss out on Erling Haaland, Mbappe, and Tchouaméni. They're doing everything possible to make this happen, and they're going to make it happen. And the players like Tchouaméni, they are far more versed in controlling a game. Yes, it can get boring at times, but at the end of the day, the idea is not to let the opposition have any parts of the ball, to have less possession for them, and to control the match, and to be patient and finding those threaded passes. Similarly with Bissouma, comes from a background in Brighton, and Brighton plays some really good football. Graham Potter over there is doing a madness. They play very decent football. In recent times, I've watched a lot of Brighton. I've watched them against Tottenham. I've watched against Arsenal. I've watched them against Man City, many other teams this season, and I've repeatedly tweeted out, this is the caliber of midfielder that we need. If we can't get Tchouaméni, if we can't get, let's say someone like a Julian Weigl, and there are many other players that sort of, fall into that category. At the end of the day, look, we need someone who has the capability of doing what Jorginho does, in my opinion, but with a far more mobility and physicality. And Bissouma, if you watch Brighton, there is some sort of, I suppose, not concern, but another perspective is that Bissouma is someone who's more box to box. In my opinion, the matches that I've watched, I've seen him being the deepest midfielder, basically sits in front of the CBs. Brighton do play with three at the back at times. Sometimes they play four, but generally they play with three at the back with wing backs. And they build up in that same sort of philosophy like we want to build up. And Bissouma, being the deepest midfielder, he's very good on the ball. His distribution is fantastic. As I said, technically very good. He's got that capacity. When I say very good on the ball, look, for the deepest midfielder, yes, you want the simple sort of passes. Just basically get the ball, know exactly where it needs to go before you even receive the ball. This is very important in the build-up, having that vision, having that, know-how that where the ball needs to go straight away before, because you're going to get pressed, you're going to get pressured. Bissouma is good at that. Verticality, long passes, switch of play, all of that. Bissouma has that in abundance, and he has that physicality and that absolute robust energy, and he is capable of scoring goals as well. So for me, ladies and gentlemen, this is fantastic. Chelsea are interested in Yves Bissouma. Keep an eye on that. Nathan Gissing drops that news and goes through every summer target while also addresses outgoings on the latest podcast. So check out that latest podcast. But this is great when people like Simon Phillips and Nathan Gissing are talking about Yves Bissouma. You know something's cooking, which is fantastic. Now, I'm not someone who is big on gathering stats and whatnot. You guys would have known this, but every now and then some stats do, enlighten me a little bit. Most sort of probable is this one: best tackle completion percentage of Premier League midfielders 2021-22, 50 plus tackles. Bissouma 66.7, Conte 65. So look, Declan Rice 59. Bissouma is underrated, man. Like, people don't talk about him. They talk about Declan Rice because, I kid you not, look, Declan Rice is a very good player, but a lot of the hype is, I honestly think, is because he's Mason Mount's best friend and because he's come from Chelsea Academy, and that's why people are continuously keep saying proper Chelsea, and this, that, and the other. If he didn't have those ties, I'm telling you, people will not be talking about Declan Rice in that particular manner. I mean, look, as I said, not taking anything away from Declan Rice, very good player, but don't think he suits the way, in my perspective, doesn't suit the way that we want to play our football. Yves Bissouma could be available for 30 million. Now, that is a bargain and a half, and this is why I feel this is the smart purchase. This is what Todd Bowley wants to do. These are the level of purchases that we need to get to. I still remember there was a moment where Liverpool was interested in Bissouma, but then Bissouma had that off-field issue, and I'm in the understanding, I think that issue has now been dropped off. Correct me if I'm wrong. I've recently seen some comments, people saying that that particular issue is no longer, it's a non-issue now. So he had a court case that was happening, but that's been dropped off. But correct me if I'm wrong. So yeah, 30 million, absolute bargain. Someone like Declan Rice at 120 million. I just don't think we should be doing that level of business when I personally don't think it does even fit. Okay, let's talk about the next piece of news, ladies and gentlemen. Ivan Perisic's decision on renewal with Inter is about to fall, so he's probably not going to stick around at Inter Milan. However, a bad boy called Antonio Conte's Tottenham is very much interested in the player and keeping close attention to the situation. Look, I'm very, very worried about Antonio Conte next season with Tottenham. I think they are the biggest rivals for us. Man City and Liverpool, very difficult to catch up to them. If there was a big threat for us, it's Tottenham. Antonio Conte is only going to get better. The way they snatched top 4 position from Arsenal, yes, Arsenal bottled it, but at the same time, Tottenham, where they were in the season and where they finished, incredible. And even when Conte came on, they weren't initially doing well. It's later on they started picking up. If he's backed with his players on top of Son and Kane and Kulusevski, or the firepower they have, they're going to be devastating. And if Conte starts picking up players like Ivan Perisic, who we're linked with as well, who I think is going to be another one of those smart purchases on the left side. Don't know how Chilwell is going to turn up, as much as I'm so ecstatic to see him back. And next season, I cannot wait. He's still our number one left-sided player. But ACL injury, I don't know. There's a question mark. How well he's going to come back. So a player like Ivan Perisic with a wealth of experience is very much needed, knowing that we're going to lose so much experience in that back line. We miss out on a player like this, we have to go out there in the market and drop some money. Unless we're happy with Emerson. Let me know if that's what you're okay with, because there are rumors that Emerson is going to be back to compete with Chilwell. Or do you go in the market and splash some more money to get someone like Marc Cucurella, who we are linked with as well? I think Marc Cucurella could be somewhere around 40 to 50 million. So another one of those Brighton players. But let me know how you feel about this, ladies and gentlemen. Now, let's talk about the final player in terms of transfer before we talk about some Chelsea takeover news. The current feeling with Josko Gvardiol is that he is expected to stay at Red Bull Leipzig this summer. The centre-back is happy there, and there is no hurry to find a move elsewhere, despite interest from various clubs such as Chelsea and Spurs. This is from Nathan Gissing as well, from Instagram page CFC News. Very, very good source. Look, I've not watched too much of Red Bull Leipzig. The only time I've watched was recently. It was against Rangers, second leg, and they got absolutely hammered. And Gvardiol did not look good against Rangers, and that too with all his other defenders as well. How I look at this situation is I want Kalidou Koulibaly. I need experience. I want Koulibaly. If we go with a back three, and even if we go with a back four, Koulibaly to be the left-sided CB. And then I want Levi Colwill to be the backup. I think we need to give much more respect to our academy players. Look at the damage they're doing all over Europe as well, with Tomori winning the Scudetto with AC Milan, Mark Guéhi in Crystal Palace. Look at the English team, a whole bunch of academy players from Chelsea. Thomas Tuchel might like this player. Thomas Tuchel likes a lot of players. And this is what I've said. I need Thomas Tuchel to concentrate more on being a manager, being a coach, and developing. And yes, at the end of the day, get his tick of approval as well. But I don't necessarily want Thomas Tuchel to be a scout. He may like Gvardiol, but this is why I need a director of football to come in and veto him at times and say, look, you got Levi Colwill. Go with Koulibaly with more experience and someone who's probably as close as getting to that Rudiger kind of caliber. And then you go with someone like Levi Colwill and you slowly build him up. There's no need for another youngster like Josko Gvardiol unless this guy is the real deal. He is the latest sensation in defense. He is the one who's going to transcend defensive football in years to come. Then fine, go and splash the money. But forget about Levi Colwill then. Forget if you get someone like Koulibaly, and I wouldn't advocate for Josko Gvardiol and Levi Colwill, two youngsters. I would not advocate for that. I definitely want some form of experience. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Unless if you think both Josko Gvardiol and Levi Colwill, I don't think that's advisable. To be honest, I don't think that's wise at all, if I'm being absolutely honest. So yeah, let me know about Josko Gvardiol. As I've said, that's how I feel. Further Christian Pulisic drama, ladies and gentlemen. I'm just getting a bit fed up with all of this situation now. Christian Pulisic has deleted his last two most recent Chelsea posts on Instagram, the wins against Leeds and West Ham. Further goes on to say may have deleted them due to negative comments, people informing me some of the comments were bad. Look, I never liked the fact how fans go out there and abuse players. You can be critical, you can be constructive. Why the need to be abusive? If you look at me, any of my videos or any of my Twitter posts or Instagram posts, I'm never, ever abusive. Am I critical? Yes, I am, but I'm never abusive. So to the fans out there, stop doing that, man. But Christian Pulisic and his Instagram stuff, this has been circulating in the last few days. First, his bio, removing Chelsea, removing his profile pic of Chelsea, and now deleting his recent two Chelsea posts, this, that, and the other. Like, I just get the feeling this guy's done. He's had enough with Chelsea. I think he wants a change of atmosphere. His father recently tweeted as well, showcasing his frustration. So it's too much happening from Christian Pulisic's side. He needs to take control of what's going on. If you're going to leave Chelsea, leave peacefully. If you're going to stay at Chelsea, then focus, my man. That's all I'm going to say. Now, let's talk a little bit about the Chelsea takeover situation, ladies and gentlemen. Jacob Benz, who's covering this to the T and the best person at the moment who's covering this saga, he's tweeted in the last 24 hours, Chelsea statement confirming the sale is imminent. Look, as I said, we're just waiting on the announcement. Everything is done. Portuguese government has confirmed this morning that Roman Abramovich's Chelsea sale has been rubber stamped in Europe. There's also been a few tweets that the transfer of the money has been done as well. The wiring of the money wherever it needs to go, it's been completed. That's been floating around as well. Todd Bowley will personally oversee Chelsea's transfer drive this summer after agreeing with Thomas Tuchel that a rebuild is needed to return to the top of the Premier League or top of football. 100% agreed. Todd Bowley and Thomas Tuchel are believed to have met since the season ended, with Tuchel frank about what is required, but sources close to Bowley insist he was already aware of the issues facing him after watching Chelsea win just once in person. I think it probably was some form of blessing in disguise that Todd Bowley was around in the last few matches leading up to the end of the season, and I'm sure he would have seen, because he didn't witness any wins until the last day against Watford, and even that was a bit of a right at the end drama scenario. So I'm glad he was able to witness where the deficiencies are, and I'm sure Thomas Tuchel has provided those information as well. So hopefully now they go out there and do the business to start rebuilding this, and then in the future windows improve. While Todd Bowley will rely on transfer chief Marina Granovskaya during this window, with the director expected to stay on in the immediate term, he's also set to use the summer to draw up a new recruitment strategy going forward. This is perfect. This is what we need. Director of football, please give me a director of football. Someone who understands football, someone who will sit down with Thomas Tuchel, talk about a philosophy from grassroots, not just from first team. It's got to be from grassroots leading up to the first team. And then have a recruitment strategy. Scouts, we need new scouts. Data-driven analysis is something that Todd Bowley, flourishes with. So let's focus on that. Marina Granovskaya, I expected that she'll stick around in the first few, maybe 3 months, 6 months. That's fine. See us through. But I don't want her to screw things up in terms of negotiations, because there has been times where she's been a bit hardball and she's been a bit unrealistic about some of the pricing of the players. So I don't want her to screw some of these negotiations up. Let's get to a fair ground. Let's not get done, of course. Let's say someone like Yves Bissouma, quoted around 30 million. Let's not go out there and pay 50 million to get him. Let's be sensible. But at the same time, let's not try and lowball Brighton and say, give him to us for 20 million. Do you know what I mean? Like, he's in his final year of contract, but Marina Granovskaya has been known to stuff up some financial dealings as well, and that's what I'm a bit concerned about, that she doesn't do this. Ousmane Dembele will not join PSG this summer. This is the final news. This was the news that was floating around, that he will join PSG. Luckily, he's not. As I've said many a times in this, transfer bonanza, Chelsea transfer bonanza, that is my number one Chelsea forward attacker target marquee for me. I've seen quite a few comments in recent times, especially in Twitter, that they're concerned. He's injury prone. Look, I'm not hiding the fact he hasn't been injured. He definitely has. But since Xavi took over, which was last year around November-ish, till now, he's not been injured. Maybe, just maybe, he's gotten over it. His assist, I think since Xavi took over, he's had about 13, 14 assists. He's literally played half the season, and he is one of the top ranks in terms of assist makers in La Liga. I don't have to say much about this player. Just go and check him out. He's the exact caliber of 1v1 creative winger that we are looking for. And for me, he's one of the best ones out there. Yes, it's not going to be easy. Free transfer, I get that, but his salary expectations and all that. But I leave that to Todd Bowley to figure out, fancy things up. Do your fancy accounting, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, that wraps us up for this edition, ladies and gentlemen. Let me know everything, how you feel, especially about Yves Bissouma. Is that the caliber of midfielder that you're looking for? In my opinion, if he comes in, then probably Jorginho, because I feel like Yves Bissouma can do Jorginho's role. Definitely he can, and more in terms of mobility and physicality. So that would mean Jorginho would have to leave, and possibly Conte would get a contract extension. But let me know how you feel about all of this. As I said, especially Bissouma situation, Gvardiol as well, Pulisic, Ousmane Dembele. Comment below. If you've enjoyed this, smash the like button. If you're here for the first time, subscribe, hit the bell notification to stay in touch with all my content. Until next time, see ya.